Hello. Today's lecture we are continuing from the last class on simple stresses and strains of mechanics of solids. So let's solve some of the questions from the material properties as well as basic stresses and strains. The first question is something related to the material properties. So we are asked that to compare mild steel and high carbon steel. So and we are asked to find out what quantity that high carbon steel has less in comparison with mild steel. Okay, so basically there are two different types of steels that are used in structural design. One is the mild steel and other one is the high carbon steel. So so basically high carbon steel has the strength, carbon content and everything larger as compared to mild steel, but then still we sometimes use mild steel for various purposes. This is because high carbon steel as compared to mild steel have less ductility than that of a mild steel, because we preferably need structures to have higher ductility, because only then we will know that the structure can fail after heavily deflection. Okay, otherwise the structure will fail uncontrollably, and that can cause some accidents and other risky factors. So the answer to this is ductility, and as compared to mild steel, high carbon steel has less ductility, while the strength, hardness, etc. things are higher for a high carbon steel. So the answer is C, ductility. Okay, let's look at another question. So the next question is that the material in which large deformation is possible before the absolute failure or rupture, and the options are brittle, elastic, ductile, plastic. So this is in continuation with the last question. So the property ductility and brittleness implies that the brittleness basically means that the failure will be sudden and without any warning, while ductility implies that it has a failure after going sufficient deflection. Okay, this can be inferred from the stress strain curve of brittle materials and ductile materials. As shown here, brittle materials fail suddenly, while ductile materials has a large deflection like this and only then fails. So this will be helpful for the residents of a building to get warned before actual failure happens. So the answer to this is the option C, ductile material. Okay. Okay, now let's look at another question. Let's look at a problematic situation here. So this is a recap of last lectures, one of the questions of last lecture. So it is basically the application of Hooke's law. So the question is as follows: a metal bar of 10 millimeter diameter, when subjected to a pull of 23.5 kilonewton, gave an elongation of 0.3 millimeter on a gauge length of 200 millimeter. The Young's modulus of elasticity of the metal will nearly be. So we are asked to find out the Young's modulus of a metal, and we are given some factors such as the diameter of the bar and the load applied on it and the deflection it has caused and the length of the metal bar, or the length over which the load has been applied. Okay, so from Hooke's law we know that stress is proportional to strain, and that is so solving that we get the formula that deflection delta equal to PL by AE, where P is the load, L is the length, A is the area of cross section, and E is the elasticity. So from that formula we can infer that elasticity E equal to PL by A delta. So substituting the values given here, that P equal to 23.5 kilonewton. So we are not changing the dimensions or units here, we are just keeping it as it is, 23.5 kilonewton, into the length 200 millimeter, and area is pi by 4 into 10 square, that is the diameter, into 0.3, which is the deflection. So this is basically interchanging these two factors in this formula. Okay, and that gives the value of 200 kilonewton per millimeter square as the elasticity for this particular material, okay, or this particular metal. So the answer is option A, 200 kilonewton per millimeter square. Now let's look at another question. So here we are introducing a new topic called tapered bars. So tapered bar means it's a bar, it's a prismatic bar where the diameter or the width of one section is decreasing uniformly and gradually up to another section. Okay, so the diameter if the diameter of the one side is 10 centimeter, it is gradually decreasing to another lesser value, say maybe 5 centimeter. So it is a gradual thing. So the figure is like this. So this is a uniformly tapering circular bar. So this portion has a diameter of d1, this portion has a diameter of d2. Okay, uh, and this is a random point x that has a diameter of dx. Okay, so this can also be a rectangular bar also, and solving this, we solve this like we solve a normal prismatic bar using but we use integration here, and we obtain that the deflection at any point can be obtained for this particular cases for PL by pi E d1 d2. So where P is the load applied on the bar, L is the length of the bar, that is this total length. Okay, E is the elasticity, d1 is diameter of one side and d2 is diameter of the other side. So this is a general expression to determine the deflection of a uniformly tapering circular bar. Okay, so what we need to do here is to use this formula to find the deflection and substitute the values given in the question. So P here is 12 kilonewton. Okay, that is given in the question. L is the length and it is given as 300 millimeter. D1 means the higher diameter or any of the diameter, and one of the diameter is 30 millimeter diameter, and it is decreasing from 30 millimeter to 12 millimeter diameter. So D1 is 30 and D2 is 12 millimeter. Okay, and substituting it gives us we keep the pi as constant, pi as it is, and calculating it gives us that 0.2 by pi or 1 by 5 pi millimeter of the elongation. Okay, so the so the option is option D, 1 by 5 pi. Okay, so next so that is the answer for this case. Okay, next let us look at another question. So here we are introducing a concept called self weight or deflection due to self weight. Okay, so let's look at the question first. An elastic bar of length L, cross sectional area A, Young's modulus of elasticity E, and self weight W is hanging vertically. It is subjected to a load P applied axially at the bottom end. The total elongation of the bar is given. So we are given a general term here. So there are no numerical values involved. We are given something general. So there is a bar of length L and area E and elasticity, and it has a weight of W. Okay, and it is hanging vertically. That's the point. So it is something that is hanged vertically. So it is falling. It is normally uh, going down or looking downwards or hanging downwards by its own self weight. Okay, so in addition to that, in addition to its self weight W, which is pulling it downwards, there is another load P applied axially at the bottom end. So a load P is acting at its end in addition to the self weight. Okay, so we are asked to find out the deflection of this case. So we know that if a load P is applied on a prismatic bar, its deflection is given as deflection delta is equal to PL by A. Okay, so that is one factor here. So but here another thing called the self weight is also acting on the prismatic bar. Okay, so we need to consider another thing. So we have a standard equation to determine the deflection of a bar of section due to self weight. Okay, so assume that this is the a prismatic bar. Okay, and it has a let's say specific weight of gamma, elasticity EA, and it has a length L, and it has a W weight acting downwards from its center. Okay, and in the given question there is a P also acting. Okay, let's leave the P here, and the deflection due to this self weight W is given as WL by 2A. Okay, if so it can be remembered by the easy scenario that if W is the load acting, then the normal deflection should be PL by A or WL by A, but here the value is WL by 2A. So the deflection due to self weight of a structure is equal to half the deflection if a load equal to the self weight is applied on it. Okay, so that is the situation here. So that deflection due to this self weight is WL by 2AE, and that is so we have another quantity PL by AE. Okay, that is due to the load P, and then in addition to that we have this thing called WL by 2A. Okay, so the option that corresponds to our answer is option B, WL by 2A plus PL by A. Okay, so that's enough for today's lectures. In the next lecture, so from right till now we have covered some of the basics of mechanics of solids. So from the next lecture onwards, we will see indeterminate type of bars, such as prismatic, or bars having various cross section, and bars having different materials or composite bars, and bars having in subjected to temperature stress. Okay, till then, thank you so much.